Hello, and welcome to the Merri-Cast, the show that puts you on the fast track to business confidence. Today's episode is the second of two reflection episodes for this year, and we're looking back at my favourite snippets from each episode so far. Since the launch of this podcast earlier this year, we've had brilliant guests, all entrepreneurs and all with a unique story to tell. Each guest has provided a different perspective on what it takes to be an entrepreneur and the valuable lessons that they have learnt on their own journey. And we continue these highlights with Jim James, our 11th guest on the show, who discussed bravery, finding megatrends, and the importance of cash flow. In this clip, Jim explains why you need to be aware of your cash flow and how it helps remove the anxiety of being an entrepreneur.
So if you're going to start a business, one of the most important documents you can do isn't your website, it's your cash flow statement. And I think so few people, when they're entrepreneurs, think about the financial side. And I'm a PR marketing person. I'm not an accountant, but I do know it doesn't matter how good your PR is. If you run out of cash, you're begging for work or you go back to a job. So if there's many things that I've learned, but one of the things, Trevor, for your audience about entrepreneurship is remove the risk by removing the anxiety of financial shortfall, because actually the tension comes from running out of money before you've got enough coming in.
Next on the show, we were joined by Robert Clay, who shared with us how he motivates himself and how something he read in his teens encouraged him to abandon the idea of worry altogether, and how this decision benefited him enormously.
I always had the belief that I could do what I set my mind to. And this is where when people say, how do you motivate yourself? It's not an issue for me. I've long since figured out that, well, I think in my teens, one of the things I realized, and this was a very important realization, is that so it's something like 95% of the things people worry about never even happen. And because of that, and I might have read that somewhere, because I'd come across this, I thought, well, what is the point of worrying? You only shorten your life and make life worse. And I'm very much the person that looks forward. I don't look back. I'm not sitting there regretting things. I've done things that haven't worked. I've done things that have worked. I don't regret the things that haven't worked because I've learned from them. And that's just being part of the journey moving forwards. So at some point in my teens, I abandoned the idea of worry, and it has really not crossed my mind seriously ever since.
We were also delighted to have Paulina Roach on the podcast. Now, my highlight from this episode was when Paulina discussed opening yourself up to opportunities and how saying yes to things that make you uncomfortable can only help you go further.
When you start saying yes to 30 days, you open up yourself to opportunities that you would normally not open yourself up to. And so more opportunities come your way. The more you say, I'm a big believer that you shouldn't say yes to everything. It's a lesson learned. But sometimes if you want to shift where you are, what got you where you are right now is not going to get you to the next level. So you have to say yes to things that make you uncomfortable to get to the next step.
Then we were privileged to have Jackie Lappin on our show. She emphasised how we're each of us responsible for our own energy, and more specifically, to reassess what tasks and environments our energy is best used in. So let's listen back to a lovely clip.
So there are days when I sit here and I'm in a big black funk, something has, disturbed me. And I can sit there and I can say, all right, if you don't change this, tomorrow is not going to be any fun. I have the responsibility to change my energy or live with the consequences. And so sometimes, I'm not perfect. I don't always go around in a state of bliss. Frequently, I don't. I happen to be a glass half empty by nature. I have to really think, okay, is this where I want to put my energy? What can I do that's going to focus me on moving forward so that I can feel better about things, move things into a positive direction, and see a hopeful outcome? And so that's what I try to do.
Another fantastic guest was Bill Sherman, who discussed how an important life event impacted his emotional stability in a very positive way. And in this clip, he shares how this event made him realise what is truly important to him.
So I would say it's really impacted emotional stability and the ability to sort out the noise from the signal. What's important and what do I value, and to be much more direct if something's not working for me or this is not something that I want to focus on or do, I'll say that. And that selectivity really allows me the ability to shape what I want to focus my energy on, because I recognize now with much greater clarity that that energy is a scarce resource and it's not infinite. It's not going to last, hundreds of years.
Every entrepreneur learns different valuable lessons on their own journey. And for our next guest, Joel Blake, well, his biggest takeaway is having belief in your own power. And let's find out why he thinks that.
I think there are many lessons you learn as an entrepreneur, and everyone
Yeah.
has different experiences. I think there's many consistent messagings out there, I suppose. But I think for me, that belief in your own power is because it's not about me, it's about the value that I can create with that power to add value to the lives of the people that we want to support, the businesses that we're trying to help grow. And so from a technology point of view, the belief in power is about the belief of our products and service and how that adds value to large organizations who go on to support the small businesses that we want to work, that we want to see grow.
Next, we had the brilliant Serbi Dedia, who shared with us why business owners need to have a high-quality brand guide, but also being aware that you will not get everything right in what you do. And here's what she had to say.
So it's like a doctor solving his own pain, right? Like the same thing happened to me. So if I would advise the businesses or owners that, hey, you need like a brand guide and you need like a logo and a website which actually addresses to your target audience and stuff. Now, this part, I didn't need to convince myself because I knew this is the path, right? Like the very first day when I hired somebody to do a logo, I also paid that person for brand guide, like because I didn't cut corners there and I knew that the value of brand guide is long term. But then for the longest period of time, I didn't have a website. I just had a printed business card, but there was no website, right? So, and the reason was I just wanted to make it right. I just wanted to have the content right. And, I was so stuck in that hamster wheel of getting it right, one day getting it right. I realized that was lesson number one, that you will never have it right.
Many entrepreneurs, no matter how successful they are, often struggle with negativity and talking themselves down all the time. But our fantastic guest Jasper Steinhausen explained how he shifted his negative mindset to a positive one, and he explained the many benefits that this has had.
I think it comes back to, I made a really conscious decision back in my teens to step away from negativity. I had a period there in my time, in my life, where I spent quite a lot of energy actually on talking myself down and apologizing for everything around me. And I got really fed up by that and decided to change, and really surfing on the back of a couple of positive things that happened in my life back then. I decided that no more. I was gonna look at the positive side. And I think many people say to me that I'm really good at seeing the positive things and sides, even in bad situations, and that I don't really take in as much if people talk badly about me. So I think being in a stressful situation or something goes wrong, I tend to sort of, it glides off me slightly, and I see, well, it gives me this opportunity, or at least I learned this, or, we are here now, so what's going to happen next?
We were also joined by Marie-France Samba, who discussed the importance of being authentic as an entrepreneur and trusting your own ability. She also shared with us how she encourages her clients to embrace their uniqueness in order to avoid the imposter syndrome often felt by entrepreneurs. Here's what she had to say.
Because for me, it's about being yourself, right? It's about being authentic. So I'm not trying to be someone else. I'm not trying to compare myself too much. I trust my ability to help my clients achieve their goals. So that's that unshakable belief that what I bring to the table is of value, and I am able to help and empower my clients to transform their lives and to transform their business and to achieve their goals. So I also help my clients with that because, as entrepreneurs, we sometimes suffer from these imposter syndromes. We feel like we're not enough. We feel like there are so many people out there. Who am I to share my message and to try and make a difference? And what I say to my client is that we're all unique. And so nobody is going to serve the way you serve.
Our last guest of 2022 was the incredible Adam Stott. He shared with us why a winning mentality and putting the work in at the start of your entrepreneurial journey gives you a better chance of seeing more success. Let's listen back to what he said.
And the work that needs to be done on us as an individual is our winning mentality, our belief system, our ability to learn new things, our ability to enjoy challenges. and to realize it's going to be a challenge, our ability to not be afraid of rejection, our ability to not be afraid of failure. We've got to do that work early to get ourselves in a position to win in business. And I think it's really important.
Well, thank you so much to all my guests in 2022. They provided so much knowledge, wisdom, and inspiring lessons to help all entrepreneurs, including myself, become the best that they can be. Now, I've learned a lot over the last few months, and I hope and I'm sure that you have too. And thank you very sincerely to you, the listeners, for the continued support for our podcast in 2022. We've been absolutely thrilled with the response. We'll be back in the new year, 2023, with more episodes featuring more brilliant new guests. But until then, I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year.